They laughed first. Not the soft, harmless kind of laughter, but the sharp kind that sticks to your skin and follows you home. It echoed through narrow streets, bounced off cracked walls, and landed right on the shoulders of a skinny Filipino boy who dared to sing like Elvis Presley under the open sky. If you've ever been told your dream was a joke, stay till the end of this story, and before you do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us why dreams are worth fighting for. Every afternoon, when the sun dipped low and painted the streets an orange light, he stood near a small sorry store with a cheap microphone connected to an old speaker. His clothes were simple, sometimes torn, his shoes worn thin, but his voice carried something powerful. He sang Elvis songs with closed eyes, imagining a stage far bigger than the broken pavement beneath his feet. People passed by, some shaking their heads, some recording on their phones just to laugh later. Kids mocked his accent. Adults whispered that he should find real work. But he kept singing, because singing was the only place where the noise of the world couldn't reach him. At home, life was no easier. The house was small, built from tin and wood, and rain leaked through the roof. His family struggled daily, choosing between electricity and food, between dreams and survival. His mother believed in him quietly, never loudly, because hope was fragile when money was scarce. His father worried more than he spoke. Singing didn't pay bills. Singing didn't fix broken walls. Yet every night, when the world slept, the boy practiced in front of a cracked mirror, copying Elvis's moves, his voice trembling but determined. The laughter grew louder over the years. Street performances turned into viral clips, not of praise, but of ridicule. Filipino Elvis, people joked. Who does he think he is? Each comment cut deep, but he learned to turn pain into fuel. Every insult sharpened his focus. Every laugh became a reminder that he had something to prove, not to them, but to himself. Then came the moment that changed everything. Someone suggested he audition for America's Got Talent. At first, it felt like a cruel joke. A boy mocked on village streets competing on one of the world's biggest stages? The idea sounded impossible. But impossible had never stopped him before. With borrowed money, endless paperwork, and fear sitting heavy in his chest, he took the leap. When he stepped onto the AGT stage, the lights were blinding. The judges looked curious, skeptical. The audience murmured. Another dreamer, they thought. He introduced himself softly. His hands shook. For a second, doubt crept in, the same doubt he'd carried through streets filled with laughter. Then the music started. He opened his mouth, and everything changed. The voice that once echoed between broken buildings now filled a massive theater. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. It carried years of pain, hope, and stubborn belief. The crowd fell silent. Judges leaned forward. Every note told his story of ridicule, resilience, and relentless passion. When he finished, there was a pause. A dangerous pause. Then the theater exploded. Cheers, tears, standing ovations. Judges praised not just his voice, but his courage. And then it happened, the golden buzzer. Gold confetti rained down, washing away years of laughter and doubt in a single, unforgettable moment. The boy who sang on the streets was now singing for the world. But the real victory wasn't the buzzer. It was the message. Dreams don't need permission. Talent doesn't ask where you come from. And laughter, no matter how cruel, can never silence a heart that refuses to quit. He stood there, crying, smiling, overwhelmed, not because he had proven them wrong, but because he had finally proven himself right. The boy grew up in a small Filipino neighborhood where life moved fast but opportunities didn't. Houses stood close together, patched with tin roofs and wooden walls, each one carrying its own quiet struggles. His family had little, but they had love, and sometimes love had to be enough when money wasn't. From a young age, he discovered music, not through expensive lessons or fancy instruments, but through an old radio that crackled with static. One voice, however, cut through the noise like magic: Elvis Presley. The moment he heard it, something changed inside him. That voice felt like freedom. It felt like a promise. He practiced wherever he could. In front of a mirror with a cracked corner. In empty alleys. On the streets, where the world could hear him whether it wanted to or not. Singing wasn't a hobby to him, it was breathing. When he sang, hunger felt quieter. Fear stepped back. Doubt lost its grip, even if only for a few minutes. But the streets were not kind to dreamers. Neighbors told him to stop wasting time. Strangers laughed at his accent, his clothes, his confidence. Filipino Elvis, they joked. Go get a real job. Every word hurt, but none of them stopped him. Instead, they followed him home, sat beside him while he ate simple meals, and watched him rehearse late into the night. His mother listened quietly from the next room, pretending not to worry. His father stayed silent, torn between pride and fear. Dreams were beautiful, but they didn't pay bills. Still, every time the boy sang, there was something undeniable in his voice, a belief that refused to die. As the years passed, the laughter didn't fade. It grew louder. Videos of his street performances spread online, shared not for admiration, but for entertainment at his expense. Comments piled up, each one sharper than the last. He read them all. Some nights, he cried. Some nights, he wondered if they were right. But every morning, he picked up the microphone again. Because quitting would hurt more than failing. One day, someone mentioned America's Got Talent. The idea felt unreal, almost insulting. A boy mocked on village streets standing on a global stage? It sounded impossible. But impossible had always followed him, and he was tired of running from it. He applied with borrowed money, shaking hands, and a heart full of fear. When the confirmation came, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like responsibility. This was his chance, not just for himself, but for everyone who had ever been told they weren't enough. The journey was overwhelming. Airports. Cameras. Bright lights. He had never seen anything like it. Backstage at AGT, surrounded by polished performers and confident smiles, doubt crept back in. His clothes were simple. His story too familiar. He wondered if he belonged there at all. Then he remembered the streets. The laughter. The nights he sang to silence his own fear. And he walked onto the stage. The judges watched closely. The audience murmured. Another contestant, they thought. Another dreamer. He introduced himself softly, voice trembling, hands shaking. When the music started, time slowed. He closed his eyes, just like he did on the streets. And he sang. The voice that once echoed between narrow alleys now filled a massive theater. It wasn't flawless. It was better, it was honest. Every note carried hunger, heartbreak, hope, and stubborn courage. The audience fell silent. Judges leaned forward. The laughter he once knew had no place here. When the song ended, the pause felt endless. His heart pounded. Then applause erupted like thunder. People stood. Some cried. Judges praised not just his talent, but his journey. And then the golden buzzer was pressed. Gold confetti rained down, covering a boy who had once been covered only in doubt. In that moment, the streets, the laughter, the pain, all of it faded. But the real triumph wasn't the buzzer. It was what it represented. Proof that dreams don't care where you come from. That talent doesn't wait for permission. That laughter can never defeat persistence. He stood there, overwhelmed, not because he had silenced his critics, but because he had listened to himself when no one else would.